Welcome to PNRSHOW, Season 6, Episode 3.
I'd rather have lager than life. I'll take a strong stout over strife. I'd prefer to confer with a half pint of ale than live a long life till my private parts fail. For life without liquor is to no avail, so bring me lager for life. I'd rather have lager than life.
This is the part of the show where you would normally hear Rob wax poetically about deep and dark and corners and internets and our show. But he's not here this week. He bailed on us at the last second, something about opera and having real things to do.
It was just a weak excuse.
It was weak. But that's okay, because it gave Gary and I a chance to catch up, because Gary wasn't here last week. And Gary's beer arrived just in time with a little surprise that he didn't send to Rob anyway. And that is, shh, don't tell Rob. We're drinking the good beer tonight. Shh, we're not going to say the name on the show, but it's in the title, which we know he won't read, so it's okay.
We do have audio listeners, so maybe.
Oh, right. Okay, so for the audio listeners, it's Pliney the Elder. Shh. There.
Yeah. We can actually start our ratings before we open the beer.
Right. We probably should. It's one of those things where we'll just mark it as perfect and then maybe take off if it's, well, like there wouldn't be anything to take off from.
There wouldn't be any.
No. So, okay, so it's a 10.
It's a 10. Yeah, I think I'll rate this a 10. Looking at the bottle, I'm going to rate it a 10.
Looking at the bottle, when I pulled this out of the box this evening, I almost had to stop myself from drooling. It just makes your mouth water.
It's a funny story
that
about
green
how
label.
I was at the store and I was buying a bunch of beer to send to you guys, and the store does not always have plenty on the shelf. They have it in the back, and you usually have to ask for it because it just goes too fast, or so you kind of have to know. But they happen to actually just have it on the shelf, sitting there. So I'm like, I'm buying beer to send to the show. I'll just grab one of these for Keith. And so they just literally, if they hadn't had it on the shelf, you probably wouldn't have got that, because I probably wouldn't have thought about it. So,
well, it was meant to be, is what that is.
Yeah, that is definitely fate intervening to make sure your life got a little better this week.
My daughter, this is her favorite beer too. My 14-year-old daughter, not because she drinks beer. In fact, if she did, she'd hate this, but because it uses Russian River loves to use Comic Sans, as their font, which is somehow makes the beer more awesome. And so I was noticing it as I was reading the side of the bottle that it's all in Comic Sans too, which is just awesome. Yeah. Consume plenty, fresh or not at all.
What's
not for saving.
Bottle date on the side of your bottle?
That's actually what I was looking for when I saw that it was there.
It's
1/11/18.
Oh, that's good. So that was only a couple weeks ago. Mine is the 16th. So ours are only 5 days apart. All right, I am going to open this and I'm going to pour and we're going to drink. So a little story about Russian River while we're doing this. We're going to thinking of topics, and we have one to talk about with Russian River this week.
I'm getting a head coming out of the bottle.
Yeah, that's probably from shipping.
Shipping, yeah. I didn't let this settle at all. Like I said, I just got it a mere few hours ago.
So I had my hand surgery in November, and I've been going to physical therapy. And last Friday, it wrapped up around 3. So I said, "Hey, Gilly, you want to meet me at the brewery? Because there's now a train that we can take up to Santa Rosa." So, and it's about a 15-minute walk to the brewery from the train station. So I picked her up, and we went to Russian River for like 3 hours. And it was happy hour when we started, and hadn't done that for a long time. And it was a wonderful way to spend a Friday afternoon, drinking Pliney fresh from the tap. I had also the Shadow of a Doubt.
So wait, how long is the train ride from Petaluma to Russian River?
Probably about 20-25 minutes.
Really?
And then a 15-minute walk. So for us, it's super easy. We can don't have to worry about sober driver or anything.
Right.
There we go. And actually, Jeremy could take the same train. It goes all the way to Santa Fe.
Really?
Yeah, probably about maybe a 10-minute walk from his house to the train station.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to make a plan.
Yeah, I think clearly at some point I'm going to need to come couch surfing around California. There it is. That's it. That's my bed. Yeah. I'm ready.
All right, so we should drink.
Yes, my head's down to almost reasonable level. So
yeah, cheers.
Oh man,
it's everything you want in a beer.
You know, because I can't get it easily. Not that anybody can get it easily, as it's fairly limited production runs anyway. But being on the East Coast, and it just doesn't come naturally to this area, I almost want to take a sip every time and go, yeah, it's not as good as I remember it. Just so that I don't feel the longing in between. But damn it, if it doesn't live up to my memories every time.
It is good. I mean, there are a lot of really good IPAs around these days.
There are.
This one has held up, and they haven't changed it. They've kept it the way it is. And where a lot of places have done things different, like Stone completely redid their recipes and changed a lot of their beers. Mm-hmm. This is still just an excellent, amazing, hallmark IPA that everybody needs to have.
I really think it's the standard for the what we now think of as the West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
It's got the right blend of those flavorful Northeast hops. It's got the perfect malt balance. It's actually lighter than a lot of IPAs these days. A lot of them, in order to try to get the malt balance, end up with closer to a reddish malt. But Pliney just does it, and they do it right. It's so approachable. It's so delicious.
It is. It's just so, it's crisp and clean. It's got that hoppy bitterness without being overly dank or sticky. It's like that.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
it's not sticky. A lot of the double IPAs, as they get hoppier, they try to balance that with a malt, and it does make it sticky.
Yeah, this is not. So starting in 2 days from now, today is the 31st. Starting on the 2nd, Pliney's little brother comes out. Pliney the Younger is being released starting on February 2nd. And Gilly and I had planned after last Friday, having so much fun going to the brewery and doing that we would do that again. And now we're not so sure, because we're not sure we want to wait in line for several hours.
Yeah. So for those of us not going to attend a Pliney the Younger line, describe Pliney the Younger, if you can, to us. What is it? How is it different than the Elder?
So Pliney the Younger is a seasonal beer. They brew it and release it the first couple weeks of February. So usually the first Friday of February is the release day. And it lasts for, I think it's 2 weeks straight, or 14, 17 days, something like that. And it is a triple IPA. This year, it is, and they changed the recipe slightly, so it's a little bit different. I gotta look up what they're doing. I had sent this link to a friend of mine, and now I should have. I guess I didn't send it. Anyway, I was looking it up yesterday, where they had the hop blend of everything that was going to be in it, and so a little bit different every year. But it started as kind of a triple IPA version of Pliney the Elder.
Okay.
As a winter seasonal, they modified it and release it only in the brewery. You cannot get it bottled, or you cannot fill growlers. They do release a select number of kegs to, I've seen them as far away as Denver, but it's usually like a bar or a special event or special place gets a single keg of beer, and that's it. So You can get it in other places besides Russian River, but you kind of have to know where to go, and you have to be there quickly, and you're usually paying a bit of a premium. Jeremy got a good deal one year. He heard it was being tapped at a bowling alley that is also kind of a craft beer place in the city, and went down there, left work early, went down there, and didn't have to wait, and sat there for a couple hours drinking Pliney the Younger. So he got lucky at that event. So generally, the kind of guarantee is to go to the brewery, because otherwise it's really hard to find and really hard to get to. So again, no growlers, no to-go bottles, nothing. It's you drink it on site. You get there, you generally wait in line. You get 3 glasses, and you can sit at the brewery for up to 3 hours. So that's kind of the deal.
Before I ever had my first sip of Pliney the Elder, I actually heard of Pliney the Younger coming to the East Coast once many years ago to a bar in Philly. And someone I knew had it there and was raving about it. I didn't know anything about Russian River at the time. I didn't know anything about the name Pliney. And so I just like, that's cool. I'm glad you got a good beer. And then blew it off. And since then, I've become increasingly more jealous as I've had my Pliney and my Russian River experiences. As I think back on that conversation going, I really should have paid more attention. And I really should have been in Philly.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, it's hard in Sonoma County to get. I mean, because you literally, like, I go with a group of guys every year, and we wait in line for 2 to 4 hours because we go in the middle of the day. On the weekend, this weekend is supposed to be nice weather. Those lines can get up to like 8 or 9 hours.
Wow.
To get. So if you can find it somewhere at a bar that happens to have it, and they may charge a premium price. They may charge you $10 for an 8-ounce pour. I'd say do it. It's worth it. Try it.
Yeah.
If you can find it. So I found the page. The hops that they're using in this year's recipe are Simcoe, Warrior, Chinook, Sentinel, Amarillo, Azaka, Idaho 7, Crystal, and Tomahawk. Yeah.
That's a big hop blend. That's a big hop menu.
It is. It is a big hop menu.
Did I count that right? Is that like 7 different hops?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. Wow. Do we know what they normally have? Or is it just slightly different every year?
Yeah, it's slightly different every year. And I've noticed that. Like I have noticed a difference in the Younger. So it's still, to me, the best beer I've ever had. I was talking to a guy yesterday at the market, and he said that they have a beer at the store that, like Pliney the Elder is in the back. You have to ask for it. He said it's as good as Pliney the Younger, and you can just get it in a bottle. But there's something about part of it is the experience of going there, and you're hanging out with people. Everybody's there kind of for the same reason, and everybody's there for the event. So it's sort of like when you go to a concert, it's kind of like this camaraderie or kind of solidarity of everybody that's there. It's like that when you go to Pliney the Younger. So people are way friendlier. Everybody's talking in line. You make a lot of new friends. Everybody drinking the same beer. So part of it is going to the event and having that experience. So I don't mind waiting in the line. It's fun. Like I said, it's a good excuse to hang out on a weekday afternoon with a group of guys and drink beer.
Yeah. So just for fun, I looked up the hop bill for Pliney the Elder, and it only contains 4 varieties. So
yeah,
you're getting twice the variety of hop in the Younger this year.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I'll put this link to the Pliney the Younger release in the show notes so that if people want to go read about it. So, and I would say Russian River has gotten much better at managing the line, because like if you go to Russian River on a normal Saturday, or actually even during the week, you could wait in line for a table. And I went there. Well, so when Gil and I went, I drove my car. I parked it on the street, like in a neighborhood a few blocks away, and left it. And then we rode the train home together. So the next day, I took the train back up when I was sober to get my car. So I stopped by the brewery and got a couple bottles. And it was, I don't know, around 1 o'clock maybe. And there was probably a half an hour wait outside of the bar to get in to get a table. when they do Pliney the Younger, you wait in line, and when you get inside, you're seated. You don't have to, like, it's not like you wait to get in the bar and then have to wait for a table. You get a seat. And they've got a system for preventing people from cutting into the line. So you can't have one person go wait in line and then like 3 hours later have a bunch of other people show up and jump in line with them. So they've done a really good job of managing that and making sure that it's fair to the people that are waiting in line. So
yeah, I think that's good too. I mean, if you're going to wait outside for that long, it's kind of nice that once you finally get to the end of the line, you have a table waiting.
Yeah, you just walk in and sit down.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. No, like crowding up to the bar and trying to get service or everything. You get, it's actually, from my experience, the table service and stuff is better during the Younger because they're gating people coming into the bar than it normally is, because you're not trying to fight to get service if you're at the bar, like kind of crowding through, right?
Well, and they're really only doing one thing, so it's not like they have to take orders. They just seat everyone, give them their 3 glasses, and go.
Yeah. Although you can get other beers, they have their regular menu available.
Oh, do you go in and order a different beer and they just look at you funny?
Some people do, yeah. They'll go in and say, "Yeah, I'll have a glass of the Younger," and then they'll order something else because they maybe they're not a big IPA person or whatever. So, and in that case, I steal their little ticket and I get the glass for myself. So,
nice.
So anyway, Younger coming up. So how's the beer, Keith? Is it settling out pretty nicely?
It's sadly almost gone.
I'm saving mine. So let's give Rob's impression of the beer. What would Rob say about this?
I was actually thinking about this before the show because Rob has come so far in his expansion of his taste from when we first started this that I actually think that if we blind tasted Rob with Pliney the Elder, if we didn't put the label on it, he would give this a high rating. I honestly think that.
I think you're right.
I think the Pliney the Elder hate is now part of his shtick.
It is.
And so whenever we bring it up and he just goes off on his little rants, that's just for comic relief. But I bet you now that he's started to appreciate. Still doesn't, not his go-to beer, but he starts to appreciate the IPAs and the double IPAs for what they are. I bet you that if we threw this in a different label and gave it to him, that he would give it a different rating. And it might be worth doing sometime to try to rebottle it.
If he comes to California, like he said he was going to take a trip out here soon. I don't know when he was planning to do that, but I remember him talking about that a while back.
Yeah, I remember him talking about that last year.
So, and we're safe doing this on the show because he's never going to listen to the show. So
he'll never hear the show. Yeah, the show is dead to him.
Yeah, our listeners don't tell him we're doing this. When he comes out, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a bottle of Pliney, and I'm going to not tell him. I'm just going to say, "Hey, I got some local beers. I want you to try them." And so he doesn't know he's doing a blind test. Just say,
if you I got brought him a glass of it, you could get away with it easy. But even if he doesn't make it, we should figure out a way to rebottle and cap it in a different bottle and send it out.
I could get a growler and then pour off a bottle and just say it's a homebrew.
Right.
From a friend of mine.
You could do that. Yeah. And then you could just send us regular Pliney the Elder bottles and we won't show them on the camera until after he's sampled.
Yeah. We're going to do that. I'm going to do
I don't know if anybody'd watch that, but that would be our best show ever.
I would do that. So, but if you knew what it was, if you knew what it was, I'm going to try to do my best Rob impersonation. I'm inspired because I found this on my desk. It's just kind of laying.
There you go.
All right. So if you could soak this Energizer battery in water, leave it out for several years to really soak and corrode, and then wring it out as you would wring out a sponge and put it in a glass, you would have Pliney the Elder.
Nice.
That's what Rob would say.
That was what Rob would say. He might add filtering it through cardboard first,
and maybe having a dog pee in your glass or something.
Yeah.
So anyway,
nice.
should we move on to the next segment, which is all picks all the time?
Yeah, we're just gonna catch up on picks we've been meaning to do for a while. So let's get some picks music.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah, the pick rumble. We're gonna start. We actually planned a little bit, even though Rob wasn't here. We have kind of some categories of picks, and we have a little bit in common. And I think the one thing we have in common is that we both have a TV show pick. I'm gonna let you go first, and we're gonna see if we have the same TV show.
Yeah, pick. It's a definite possibility since we're both big Netflix guys. Mine's in a Netflix original series, but it's a limited release original series, which means there's only going to be the one season of it. And I just finished it last night with the wife, and it's easily one of the best series I've seen on Netflix.
Yeah.
What am I going to say, Gary?
I'm blanking on the name because I'm drinking beer before dinner. It's the Western.
It is the Western one. It's called Godless.
Yes.
It's called Godless. And if you have not seen it, you must stop whatever you're binging.
So good.
And go watch Godless because it is amazing. And the best part of the show is the fact that the main antagonist in the show is Jeff Daniels from his most famous previous engagement being Dumb and Dumber.
I know. It's like I'm watching this thinking, this is the same guy that's pissing himself on a scooter in Dumb and Dumber.
What a range he pulls out of this. Now, granted, Dumb and Dumber is probably, 20 years old at this point. But, man, does he nail this role as this badass preacher mofo who just terrorizes all of us, including the viewers, during the show. And what a great part. If he doesn't win something for that, an Emmy or something, it'd be a damn shame because that was a performance of a lifetime right there.
I'm really disappointed that I did not have this on my list because I agree with you. This show was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, most people say that Netflix knocked it out of the park with House of Cards and Stranger Things, but Godless for what they did with that show, it is up there with those shows.
I mean, they possibly may have revived the Western single-handedly.
Yeah,
it's an amazing piece, and worth your. It's only what, 7 episodes?
7 or 8, yeah.
So Cindy and I have been watching it like maybe one a week for the last 7 weeks. So we went through it pretty slowly, but man, what a finish we had last night. Didn't even notice that it was extra long until it was 11:30, and we went, "Holy crap! We meant to be in bed an hour ago."
Yeah,
but it just flies by. It's amazing.
And they did some stuff different with the Western that I wasn't expecting, because like there's a certain genre of Western where you kind of come to expect things going in at the beginning. Like if you've ever seen Unforgiven or 3:10 to Yuma, it's like you kind of like we've been conditioned to say, oh, I kind of know what's going to happen with this guy because that's kind of. But they did a little bit of some differences there, and I thought that was a nice touch. So.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not predictable, I would say, going through. It still manages to keep a lot of the Western tropes, but without making it very predictable. Even from one episode to the next, you're like, oh, that happened.
Yeah. They definitely like threw some kind of like modern themes into there that I've not ever seen in a Western before.
Right, but it worked. It was totally viable.
Worked. Yeah,
the setting that they set up, the premise that they set up, seems to be able to hold all of that sort of modern thinking in that day and age.
Yeah. All right. I got to show you
this. Oh, we have dog, we have cat.
Yeah.
That's Charlie. That's not Leo.
Yeah. No, that's Pippin.
That's Pippin. Okay.
Yeah. Charlie.
Hey, Charlie. Charlie's on Instagram, folks, if you want to follow along with Charlie.
Golden Charles.
And Golden Charles looks like he gets along with his big sister swimmingly all the time, but hints from the actual household seem to say that maybe not all the time.
No, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
He'll, like a puppy will do. He'll bite on her. You saw Pippin run away.
Yeah.
He'll bite on her when she's not wanting to, but they get along. They get along really well. So
good.
Good.
They seem like quite the pair. The coloring and stuff. They just blend together into one big puppy pile, which is awesome.
Yeah, they do. We I'm not going to turn this into the Golden Retriever puppy show. So. Anyway, Godless.
Godless is my pick for a TV show. I loved it, and I think you should watch it. So, what was yours, Gary? If it wasn't Godless, what were you
Godless,
wrong about?
And I feel like less of a man for not choosing Godless, because that's like, to me, the most obvious pick for probably the last 12 months. Mine was The Marvelous Miss Maisel, which is on Amazon. And the leading actress, who I cannot recall her name, but was in House of Cards, actually, she won the Emmy for this series for a lead. I don't know, like leading actress in a comedy or what, but she won the award for. Or no, was it not the Emmy? The Golden Globe. She won the Golden Globe. It's I guess by her own admission, Jewish American princess living in New York City in, I guess, the late 50s, and gets married, has 2 kids, and her husband leaves her. So a lot of money, wealthy, fairly, for fairly wealthy family, even for New York standards. And husband decides that he's done, and she becomes a stand-up comic, of all things. And her husband was trying to be one, but she ends up being a way funnier one. And it's a really entertaining and endearing show. I have watched about half of it, and I was watching it with my wife and youngest daughter. And I missed a night because I was somewhere, and they just watched it without me. So they finished it and loved it, and now I have to go catch up. But it's a very entertaining show. It's definitely like 14 plus kind of, because they talk about there's like sex and drugs and stuff like that. So you have those conversations with your kids before you watch the show. The lady who plays the lead character, Miss Maisel, is really good, and it's kind of overdone. It's like they're kind of like everybody's like overacting, so it's like stereotypes and everything that is being done too much, but it really works well. And it's this very kind of like crisp, clean life that she leads, and then she's in these clubs doing these comedy things, and actually Lenny Bruce is one of the characters that she ends up being friends with in the show.
Really?
Yeah. So she's hanging out with Lenny Bruce in New York.
I kind of love that era of comedy. So this
it's totally an homage. It's totally an homage to that era of comedy. So it's really good. Really, Windows wants me to reboot my computer.
I would avoid doing that now.
Yeah, typical Microsoft. When you're in the middle of something really important, let's reboot.
Yeah, let's reboot mid voice video connection. That's a great idea.
Yeah, good play. But yeah, Marvelous Miss Maisel on Amazon. So if you're a Prime member, you've got it. It's an award-winning show at this point, so I'd say go watch it.
Yeah, and it looks like there is a second season that's just starting, so it's going on. Unlike Godless, which was one season and done.
Oh, like so many people with Godless were like, "There's not going to be something else. That's it. They're done."
Yeah,
like, yep, one and done. We're out. That's part of the charm of it, though, man.
I think that's I definitely think that's part of the beauty, and we've now derailed your pick back into Godless. So
Godless is totally worth it. So I think I've picked in the past. If I haven't, I will in the future. Westworld.
Oh yeah,
another Western, but Godless, which Westworld is like sci-fi modern Western, and it's totally amazing. And Godless is like just go back to being like, you know, real cowboys in the old West. Not even cowboy, you know, not. It's just like, yeah, it's so good. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Great casting all around, not just Jeff Daniel. I wanted to say Daniel Day-Lewis, but
yeah,
different
no,
different Western. Jeff Daniels, the lead
yeah,
character,
no,
the woman,
yeah, the
was great.
casting all the way through was amazing. In fact, the leading female just blew my mind on that show. But still,
Happy,
the thing I couldn't get over the most was Jeff Daniels.
yeah.
I didn't even realize it until like the second episode, and I had to pause the show and tell Cindy, I'm like, no, that's the guy from Dumb and Dumber.
I know. That was my daughter. I'm like, okay, you know this guy? Well, my daughter's seen The Newsroom, and he was the lead guy in The Newsroom.
Right. Yeah, that's right. No, yeah.
So like
he was good in that too.
He was excellent in it. So in my mind, I'm like
he wasn't Godless.
This really shows the ability of Jeff Daniels, because I'm thinking Dumb and Dumber, which he was hilarious in. Thinking The Newsroom, which he was excellent in, and I'm thinking Godless, which was totally three completely different roles, and he just nailed all three of them.
At this point, you have to consider, when you're considering a part available for anybody, you now have to consider him for that part. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It could be a 67-year-old grandma, and he's going to nail it.
Yes. All right, so we should move on to our next thing. We now our categories go off the rails, so I'm gonna let you choose whatever your next pick's gonna be.
Okay, well I'm gonna stay with the theme of arts and culture, and pick a Google app that I was clued into on my trip to Orlando by someone I met on that trip, and they said to me, "Have you seen the Google Arts and Culture app?" And I said, no, why should I have? And it is kind of what it sounds like. It's Google kind of focusing on paintings and interesting pieces of art, and you can read about them, and there's different ones in there all the time if you download and install the app, and it's available on iOS and Android. But what is really interesting is the app kind of presents itself as a news page with different images and things of art pieces, and you can click on and go down. But if you keep going down towards the bottom, there's a neat little thing in there. Well, it says search with your selfie. So what you do is you hit get started, you take a selfie of yourself, and it now tries to match you with various famous pieces of art from around the internet.
I have seen this on Facebook.
Yeah, and if you look at my image on Facebook, if you follow me on Facebook or on Twitter right now, where I am at Wolfman K, you will see that I am some famous old guy painting with a big fluffy collar of a guy with a beard who's bald, and and that's from this. I did this with it, and that's what it came up with. It gives you several choices. That's the one I liked the best, and I've chose that as my new image that I'm using on Twitter and Facebook and such. But it's just really fun to do. You can take a picture of anybody really and search them and see what famous painting they look for, they are interested in. And the idea is just to draw you into the app and make you more engaged with some classic art or modern art and some culture. And it's really good, and it's totally free, as most things from Google are. Not even an ad supported thing. It's just what it is. It's just go in there. Right now, I'll show there's some images on there from...
that is totally you.
Yeah. 20 vintage images from New York City. There's some Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander activist paintings. There's some tribal masks in there. It's really interesting. It's worth just kind of diving into when you're looking for something different to do, and I'm really glad that I have it on my phone.
That's cool. Yeah, I looked at your Twitter profile picture, and sure enough, there you are.
I need to grow the beard out a little bit, but I think I could pull that look off.
Yeah, totally can do that. Yeah, I downloaded that app. I have it now. I'm gonna post a picture of me when I was like 18.
Nice. Okay, that's
Oh,
good. I was
and-
really hoping for some cubism in mine, but I didn't get it.
yeah. And I just now, as you were talking about this, and as I thought of another future pick. So I'm going to go into one of my places where I store information that I can never find again and write it down.
You know, we should make that a pick. I actually have a pick for that. I think I mentioned it before on the show, but I think Google Keep might be what you're looking for, my friend.
Well, like I said, the problem is I have work stuff and I have personal stuff. And at work, I use one thing, and personal, I use it different because I want to make sure that I can get to my personal stuff on my own computer and I have to use my work computer to get to it.
Yeah.
And my work just moved to Microsoft Teams, which is so far a flaming train wreck. But
I actually like Teams. I think Teams is trying to be Slack, which I'm okay
with.
That's
the problem. I came from Slack, and so going from Slack to Teams is sort of like going from, Mac OS to Commodore 64.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're definitely right there. But I was coming off of Skype for Business, which was a flaming pile of shit, and going to Teams is like this refreshing. Oh, you're almost Slack. I can deal with this.
Yeah, almost, but not quite.
Yeah,
a few gaps.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, I'll go to my pick, which is going to be a service because I don't know where we are for time, but we're not going to go the hour, right? Yeah. So, I was getting these email notifications from, I think it might have been Disney, because as the kids were little, we'd buy movies, and I'd say, "Oh yeah, we get a digital copy," and I'd log in and get the digital copy that we would never use, and they were like shutting down one service and moving to something else, and they said, "Oh, you can move your movies to this thing called Movies Anywhere," and I'm like, wasn't that there was another service? Ultraviolet was the service. Yeah. And I was like, oh, is it that? What is it? And so I was like, okay, well, if they're shutting down the one thing, I got to move them to the other thing. So I might as well go through the motions and do it so I don't lose whatever I had that I wasn't using anyway.
Exactly.
So I go through the process and I'm like, it has this like connect to other stuff. So Movies Anywhere will connect your iTunes, Vudu, Amazon, and Google Play accounts all together. And what happened was once I added all those into Movies Anywhere, all of a sudden in iTunes, all the movies that I had in other places showed up as available to me in iTunes to download and watch on my device. And I was like, that is really cool. So I had some stuff that I purchased in Amazon because we wanted to watch a movie, and it was like, you can rent it for $6 or you can buy it for $12. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll buy it. I had a couple of like these Disney ones that like I said, I can't remember what service that was anymore. And I think I even had a couple of things in Vudu. And now it's like all of a sudden, all those things are merged. I logged into my Amazon account on the Roku, and all of a sudden the stuff that I had is like a lot of movies, like the Marvel movies and stuff that we've gotten digital copies of when we bought the Blu-ray that were in iTunes are now showing up in my Amazon account. So it is literally like any of the digital copies of movies that you purchase, you can get them anywhere if you link your accounts together with this. It's literally called Movies Anywhere. And it worked. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was as a consumer exactly what I wanted. It doesn't matter if I'm using Apple's ecosystem or someone else's ecosystem. If I buy a digital copy of a movie, I just want to be able to watch it on whatever device I have in my hand. Yeah. So now I can watch it on my iPad. I can watch it on my phone. I can watch it on my Roku, which is not an Apple thing. And if I had an Android phone, I could watch it there. So that's my pick is Movies Anywhere. Finally pulling all of this stuff together that for the last decade has been these different clunky, funky, weird to use services. Now, if you're a Google Play fan and you want to use that, go for it. You can pull in your Amazon content that you purchased and watch it in Google Play.
Yeah, I've actually read up on this, and I haven't done it yet, but I do have a couple movies on my iTunes account. And I still have plenty of iPads. I've switched my personal phone device is now an Android, but I still have lots of Apple devices around, so it's never been a problem. Except that I realized a little while ago that when I switched from my Apple TV, I really don't have a convenient way to play that stuff anymore. So I looked into this movies and I went, that can't possibly work, and I've never done it. So it's very encouraging to hear you say, oh yeah, I went through the motions, I linked all my accounts, and it freaking works. I was like, no way does that work.
I don't know. Maybe I was an anomaly, but for me, it was like literally like Ant-Man. I bought Ant-Man on Amazon whenever it became available digitally because we wanted to watch it, and now I can watch it in iTunes.
Yeah, so that's cool. I've got a few movies. I never bought a lot of movies. I rented a few, but I never bought a lot of movies from iTunes.
Yeah, I never.
We kind of at that point had been more of an Amazon household. So most of my digital content is with Amazon, which works great on your Roku. But there are a few things over there still that are hanging out. And I do have a few digital downloads from various services that may be on Vudu, something like that, that it would be nice to bring in all to one location, even if it is just Amazon. So I'm definitely going to have to do this. Yeah,
because we kind of a Christmas tradition we have is our kids have at Christmas get a movie as part of their Christmas present, usually like a stocking and stuff or something like that, where they get whatever, Cars or Toy Story or whatever came out that right before Christmas, and they all get a movie that they would like. And so a lot of recently in I want to say 5 years, 7 years maybe, they've given you codes in the movie packaging where you could get a digital copy of that movie.
Yeah. Okay, so the idea being you could then give it to the kids on their iPad and watch it there.
Right. So I would go redeem those codes, and I would usually redeem them on iTunes because that was the option that seemed to at the time to me the most convenient. So now I can actually go into Amazon, and all those movies that I redeemed via iTunes are showing up in Amazon because they're connected with Movie Anywhere.
And honestly, that's the way it should be. I don't know how Movie Anywhere is making any money on this, but that's the way it should be. I mean, we bought it somewhere. It exists somewhere on our account. We should just be able to get to it from wherever we are. And that's always been the promise of cord cutting that never showed up. So it's kind of neat to see it. It's kind of just backdooring, stealthing in now this late in the game.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I think that maybe they're making money because you can buy movies and stuff through them.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe they're getting a cut from Apple and Amazon and Google and Vudu and all these other places. But I don't know. But I'm pleased. That's all I'll say is I'm pleased.
Yeah, Movies Anywhere is actually a Disney product, isn't it?
I don't even know who owns it or. It says powered by Key Chest. I don't know what that is, but
it's everything. Just browsing,
it says brought to you by 20th Century Fox, Sony, Universal, Disney, Warner Brothers. So this looks like the studios got together and said we need to make this easier for people to consume our content.
Yeah,
which that makes sense.
Hollywood Studios joined Disney to launch Movies Anywhere digital locker service.
Yeah, it seems so. Yeah, 20th Century Fox, Sony, Universal, Disney, and Warner Brothers. That's most.
That's most of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of movies that aren't theirs, but I mean, when you talk about the mainstream, consumer, what you're going to get in most theater movies, this is it. So
this is a nice play by some of the big studios to not go the way of music, and I think it's probably a good move on their part.
I agree.
Cool pick. I like it. I will try it out and let you know.
So we're about 40 minutes in. Do you want to do another pick, or do you want to call it a show?
You want to sneak one more in? Let's sneak a quickie in.
I can do that. I'm good at quickies. Just ask.
Who doesn't have time for a quickie?
I always have time for it.
All right. So when I was going to Orlando a couple weeks ago, I reached out to our chat room and I said, "Hey, what do you guys like? I need something to do on the plane."
This is going to be my quickie.
That I need something to do on the plane that isn't going to require internet, that'll keep me entertained. And I got a lot of great picks. But one that comes from our friend Aaron specifically, and I know it's available on Google Play because I'm an Android and he's an Android. I think it's also available on iOS, but maybe we should probably check that because I didn't do my homework on that. But it's called Alto's Adventure. This is a fantastic game, and I missed it somehow
before. Yeah.
Yeah. I missed it before because there was a game before this that I had in my phone forever that I just played when I wanted to get this Jones, which was called Ski Safari, which was a pick from Jeremy's from like 4 years ago. But Alto's Adventure is the updated version of Ski Safari, and it is just done so well and so beautifully, and the interface is so good. And it's a ski snowboard game where you got to jump the obstacles and collect the things you want to collect. And it's just a kind of an endless runner type thing where it just keeps going and you try to keep it going as long as you can. But what's great about this is if you have headphones in, the music is beautiful. The environmental effects are beautiful. Everything is just up 10 notches from where Ski Safari was. I think I paid out of pocket like $3.99 for it or $2.99 for it. And it's worth every penny. I'm just going to leave it at that. Say Alto's Adventure. Go save your llamas.
So if you want the original pick on that was Rob in season 2, episode 9.
Really? Wow. Yeah. I'm getting around to it and getting it on a different platform. Good pick, Rob. Good job.
Well, is he on iOS or was he on Android at the time?
He might have been on Android back then. I don't remember.
Yeah.
He was a later convert to iOS.
Yeah, so we'll still give you Alto's Adventure. That was not what I was thinking. It's good that you've got it. I agree. It's a great game. It's fun.
Were you going to pick Seed Chip?
No.
No. Okay. That was the other one that I almost picked. But
so mine is one that I'm going to steal from Jeremy since he's bailed on us and is no longer on the show. Is Man vs. Missile.
Oh yeah, that's not out on Android yet. I'm kind of jealous.
Okay, I guess it's an iOS only game. It's a super simple premise where you're a fighter plane, like imagine like an old biplane, 2D game, and your whole objective is to not get hit by a missile that's coming. They look like torpedoes, but missile that's trying to get you, and you get multiple ones coming at you. So you're trying to collect coins and power-ups. I think that's what they call them. I'm not sure, but like power-ups are like shields or a speed boost, and they give you different objectives like stay alive for 45 seconds or collect 5 coins or whatever, and you level up based on completing those objectives. And the game, a single instance of the game goes by pretty fast. Like Crossy Road, you'd play for a minute and then you'd be done and you start another game, right? This is kind of like that. So if you don't have a lot of time to invest and you just want to, you're waiting in line for the train to go up to Russian River and you have a few minutes, you just play a couple of rounds of that and try to level up and move on. But super easy to play. All touch interface. Just you're just literally rotating your hand around a wheel to change the direction of your plane. And they do give you things like you can launch flares to blow up the missiles and things like that. But it's just a simple, entertaining, well done game, Man versus Missiles. I recommend it based on Jeremy's recommendation.
It is out on Android now. When Jeremy recommended it, it was not. So it has come out since then. So now we're out on Android. So I just downloaded it. I'll let you know.
I would say it is worth it. It's a good toilet game. While you're sitting there on the toilet, you got a couple minutes to kill. You can play a couple rounds.
Yeah. My go-to toilet game is still BB Tan.
Yeah, that's
The problem is I've gotten so good at it and I regularly score over the hundreds. It makes for a long toilet stop.
Yeah, that can happen. So my daughter has an iPad that I have installed a couple of apps for work on, and inevitably, whenever I pick it up, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna check the news or check my email. I don't want to grab my computer, or I want something bigger than my phone. I grab her iPad and I turn it on to look at it while I'm eating breakfast or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, it is either BB Tan or Triple Town that is the app that is running on that device.
BB Tan is so damn addictive.
It really is.
It's so good.
So,
all right, well,
I think that wraps us up. You want to? Do you want to rate the beer?
Yeah. Well, again, we rated it early and it was accurate. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, before we opened it, it was a 10, and after we opened it, it's what, an 11?
Yeah, it goes to 11.
Except it's losing a point now because I'm done with it. So, and I'm sad about that. So it's back to a 10.
So I mean, if you're rating it at 10 now, I will say that if you had an opportunity to have this on tap, fresh, and the bottle you got is fresh. I mean, you're drinking it with 2 weeks of bottling. That's good. It is just it's just real. It's crank it up a notch. It's like makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I can't even imagine this on draft.
So,
and then I'm gonna have to. It's on my bucket list for 1 year. I'm gonna make it out for Pliney the Younger.
I'm just gonna take a day off of work and go. It's just And now there's actually a new brewery close by. So literally, we can get off the train, start walking a straight line. The train station's on 3rd Street, the brewery's on 4th Street. So you got to walk a block over, right? But on the way is the mall. And there's a new brewery in the mall that I've never been to. So the plan is take the train up there, walk to the mall, which is a quarter of the way, and have lunch at the brewery there, and then walk up to the line and get in line and wait for Pliney the Younger and have maybe early dinner with Pliney the Younger at the brewery. So
see now, if the brewery was smart, they would have placed themselves on the line for Pliney the Younger, and then as the Pliney the Younger line went by, they could hand people out like free samples.
Yeah, there are
flights on the way by.
There are a couple of restaurants, and there is a new place that I just saw that wasn't there last year. That is a craft beer focused place that is on the way there. So there are a couple of places that are going to try to take advantage of that. So yeah. So
cool. Well, we expect to hear stories from the line next week. There's
your bed when you're ready.
There's my bed. I'm waiting. So as soon as I get rid of a child or two, we're just going to make this happen.
All right.
But in the meantime, we need to wrap up this show, so I'm going to play us out.
I'd rather have lager than lie. I'll take a strong stout over strive. I'd prefer to confer with a half pint of ale than live a long life till my private parts fail. For life without liquor is to no avail, so bring me lager for life. I'd rather have lager than lie. I'll take a strong stout over strive.
Insert witty comment from Rob here.
Battery acid. It tastes like battery acid.